What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great evening. How are you there, young lady?
Hey T-Rob, how's it going?
Good, man. Another week, and I've been seeing all the stuff you've been doing, and you've been a little busy.
You know it like always. I think everybody is getting piped up though. Discourse has their post-con video up. We got a little post-con background here. So I think
Yeah,
everybody is getting hyped up for this 90 days,
I know. Now we just need Pulse, right? So,
right?
so today we got a guy that I follow and watch his stuff. He's very, very smart on the crypto side, but man, on the fitness, I was going to come in with no shirt on tonight, but I didn't want to show off. I didn't want to make him feel bad, but most of you probably seen this guy. But we're gonna bring the man Sam in right now, and let's get to know this guy. What's up,
What's
man?
up? What's up, Ron? What's up, Hexcan? How you guys doing today? I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the invite and having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I always watch all your stuff because you dive. One thing I like about you, man, is you do your research and you dive deep into things. And then I just love the morning show stuff that you do. It's always fun, It's like you guys have a good time at it. So it's cool to get you on here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's fun. I never really got into going live, but I've been creating content for quite a long time. And so when GRC was like, hey, let's do this live thing, that's where it's at in the crypto space. People are going live, and it's so much more fun to just talk to somebody live, and then you get comments you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff happened back and forth, and got into it. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a ton of fun. This
Yeah.
is going through it. And hopefully it like comes through, because I definitely enjoy it. I know he enjoys it or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's back up a little bit though for some of the people who may not be familiar, with your content. Can you just give us a little background on what kind of content you have a history of creating? And then you gave his initials, but just so people actually know who you're talking about, maybe talk about the show that you do with Jim Rat.
Yes. So Jim Rat Crypto. I should have actually taken a second to share this in the group over there. Let me see if I can copy that. I put it in there in a minute. But so Jim Rat Crypto, we do a crypto in the morning show. It's on his channel, and like he's kind of running that, but it is a ton of fun. We talk just crypto related stuff. Sometimes it's fitness related stuff, and it's all like based upon the truth. Like people they want to like put forth a PR'd version of themselves and a fake version to like society or on Instagram that their life is so fantastic. And it's like, hey, we're sitting here. I don't make a lot of money. I'm doing this. I'm having fun. I'm trying to learn. I'm just enjoying life and, doing business. It's moving forward. And I think that because of Instagram and because there's so many like PR'd versions of people out there that is not based on reality, I think it's connecting, or hopefully it's connecting with a decent number of people, and that's a ton of fun. And then in terms of the content, I've actually been making content since like 2013. Online is mainly like fitness related content. So there's some really cringeworthy stuff out there. Definitely don't recommend checking out any of that stuff. But it's been I didn't have the commitment to making content. It was always something to do on the side for fun. And I'd make several videos per year for a number of years, but then I'd stop for several months not doing something and come back to it. And about 3 years ago, I quit working like the traditional 9-to-5 job and started out my own thing. I had no idea like what I was going to do or anything like that. But I was like, I know that at one point I had a YouTube channel that was monetized and I was making a little money on that. So I knew that if I could amplify what I was doing on YouTube, I could start making more money. So I just was like, okay, let me just make 5 videos a day on fitness related content. And so I started doing that and started ramping that up while I was still working at a bank. And then 2 years ago, I quit working there, and I've just been continually ramping up the content production and pushing out more and more content. So I have one channel that's related to like business, crypto, taxes type stuff, because that's the stuff I found super interesting. And then the other one's like all fitness, but it's more of the, you know how we're in that like fringe of society because most people don't understand crypto. Well, there's the arena like that in the fitness space around, say, drugs, around peptides, around different compounds. And it's fascinating because you can do a lot of stuff, whether it's related to healing yourself faster, tanning, adding muscle, sleeping better, even correcting things so that you can get rid of taking drugs like pharmaceutical drugs and use it with supplements and things like this, through checking your own blood work, that a lot of people don't realize you can just go order blood work yourself and do your own blood work and this kind of thing. And so I enjoy that. And that's also what one of my companies it does, not necessarily the blood work side of things, but there's a gray area. Oh, this is my girlfriend. Hey, baby. Thanks for coming on. And that's what one of my companies does, is like the peptide space, which have you ever heard of peptides before?
Not really.
I have, yeah, but I would love to hear more.
I think Sandy Beach. Hey, how's it going? I think Sandy Beach is something to do in the medical industry, because we've had back and forth, not in terms of this conversation, but we've had back and forth in the comments before, and I think she knows about peptides as well. But peptides are just proteins effectively, and you can take different proteins in your body and utilize them to do all sorts of stuff. So one peptide that I've been using for off and on when appropriate since 2016 comes from your gut. So it's already in your gut, and this strand of like amino acids might be 100, right? And they'll pull out a portion of it that they believe, because of whatever's in that sequence, has a certain type of effect. And so this BPC 157 specifically is really amazing at healing all sorts of tissue in the body. They did a study in rats where they basically put lesions or cuts in their eyes, and they used it as like an eyedropper. And half the rats, and the other half of the rats, they didn't use it. And within a very short period of time, within 24 hours, they could actually notice a difference in how quickly their eyes were healing. Same thing for like bone, ligaments, muscles, tendons, all sorts of stuff. And this is like one peptide, but there's peptides for all sorts of crazy different stuff. What's up, Chad? How you doing, brother? Good to see you in the chat. There's peptides for all sorts of different types of stuff. Tanning, sex drive, like hair type of stuff, losing weight. There's a peptide out there called semaglutide, which is a copy of something that's already in your body, changed slightly to prolong the half-life of it so that it just lasts longer when you take it, and it reduces your appetite. So it's extremely popular because people are like, oh, it reduces your appetite. And like, what are the side effects? Well, side effect is that it reduces your blood sugar levels, which is awesome. Like, that's a good thing. It also increases your insulin sensitivity. You're like, oh, wow, this is crazy. This thing that helps reduce your appetite, because a lot of times if people are like, hey, I want to lose weight, cool, awesome. Like, the biggest factor is being a caloric deficit. So you have this thing that helps people get into a caloric deficit easier because they don't feel the hunger as much. And the side effects of it, I mean, there's like nausea and other stuff. And by the way, I'm definitely not recommending anybody like do any of the things I talk about, but blood sugar levels, I don't know. There's all sorts of cool stuff. Like, have you ever, or do you have any injuries or things like that you're like, hey, it would be cool to get this corrected or taken care of? DB. Question for Sam. If you could only choose one SARM, which would it be and why? So SARM is like an anabolic compound that's still legal. A lot of compounds are not legal. So SARMs are something that you can still legally purchase. There's like a loophole that it basically allows you to, if something is a research compound, then you can sell it. It just has to be sold for research purposes. So it couldn't be sold for like human consumption, but it could be sold for research purposes. So a SARM is a compound that helps build muscle. So if I had to pick one SARM, there's plenty of different ones out there. I would probably go with LGD, and they all go by like weird name. So if you're in crypto, you know how people in crypto talk in certain vernacular that normies might not understand.
Yeah.
The same thing.
I never understand it. So
I don't believe that personally. I think you do. I think you know.
You
Like the sign of the
wrecked.
hat.
You
What's
probably
that?
say wrecked way too much now, don't you, T-Rob?
oh yeah, for
We all
sure.
do.
Well, what did you say?
I say he probably says like wrecked way too much. I feel we all do now. Like there's just certain words in the community that they just flow.
Yeah, you can tell people that are from crypto, huh? With just the way they talk.
or pleb.
Pleb,
Like
FOMO, like
Yeah.
all of these words that regular
FUD.
people do not use ever. Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of Shift Financial or something? My buddy was literally telling me 10 minutes before I got on here that he had put money in like a farm and then he lost it. But I was like, I've never heard of that before.
I haven't heard of it.
I mean, I've heard of people putting money in farms and losing it.
Yeah, me too.
Shift, not so much.
Yeah.
But I mean, you brought up a topic, and I'm interested to hear a little bit more. You said that this was one of your businesses, so we know that you have a YouTube space. And if you want to tell us those two names of your YouTube channels, I'm sure people would love to come and follow you. But we know you have a fitness YouTube and then a business YouTube focus. And then you said that you also have other businesses. And that's kind of like the focus of our show is really to just talk about, that entrepreneurial spirit that the individual has. So maybe touch on the businesses that you operate.
Yes. Okay, cool. So the first one is Triggered. So that's a supplement company. So that's where a lot of like cash comes in on that business. Lot as in relative to the other business, which is a real estate business. And I was literally at dinner with my girlfriend and I have to set up another just for tax purposes. So do you want to hear more about like the actual businesses of what they do or more of like the structure or strategy behind how things are done or both, or it might be interesting either way?
I mean, crypto person, I'm always interested in a little game theory.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, maybe touch on a little bit about what they do just so we have context.
Okay, so the peptide business or like supplement type business is like where a lot of those things that I sell will come through on that side. It's growing very quickly. I'm adding like a new product or two per month. And it's a ton of fun because it's stuff that I like myself. So you can kind of get stuff that you like and then it's a business expense. So you just write it off because you're like, oh, I'm creating content. It's for marketing, right? And it's stuff that you get to write off all the time, but it is held underneath my name. So then the other entity is a real estate company. So I own a mortgage in another state on a 3-family. So it's distressed debt. So basically that means that the person is not paying the bill. So I get to buy it very cheap. And one of the calls after the stream is going to actually deal with trying to flip that note for a profit. So now you have this note, right? And say Hexacan is not paying the bill. So what are my options there? I own the debt, which basically means you own the house. I own the debt against the house. So you're not paying me. So legally, I have the right to foreclose on you. So you can use distressed debt as a way to control assets or control real estate by using that as a backdoor way in. And maybe you pay 5 or 10 grand, depending on like foreclosure costs. And then you might have to do an eviction. And then instead of like having the person destroy the place, maybe you just give them 5 grand to get out of there. Right. So it's one way of doing things. And I'm going through that process right now on this, but it'll be one of the better investments I've made over the last couple of years. But that also holds the duplex that I own here. And this is, a duplex. I have it rented out. So it basically just pays me every single month and it's awesome. But the real estate side of things, unless the Massachusetts, like it's in Massachusetts, the loan I own. So unless that goes through, if that goes through, this year, then it's going to have a big amount of profit dumping in there. But if that doesn't go through, then the real estate business is great because you get the rental income, but the amount of write-offs that I pull in, it kind of shows a loss most of the year. So you don't have to pay any taxes on that stuff, where the supplement company shows profit. So the way it's currently set up is in both of them, like Sam owns both of these things. My accountant was explaining this to me. I can only take a certain amount of the losses from like depreciation and pulling in or renovations that I'm doing on the property, etc. I can only take around 50% up to like $50,000 or $25,000 to offset the gains over here per year. So one thing that I can do, that I literally was having the conversation this evening with my girlfriend about, I was like, I really need to set up that holding company, because what I can do is distance myself from those by placing a holding company between those, so that the holding company owns the real estate company and the supplement company. Now, when the income flows in, it goes to a holding company. And that allows me to net the profit from both companies or the losses from both companies. And I can use the tax benefits from the real estate company.
Yeah, it's definitely a tax benefit if you do it that way. I mean, that's the way I do it, and it's definitely a smarter way to go for sure.
Can you please, for completely selfish, can you tell me about that? Like, how do you structure your stuff?
Yeah. I mean, everything I run under LLC, just because number one, it protects you, and especially in a real estate side, you don't want to take on any risk there. But it's also, I'm not a tax professional by any means, but there's a lot of tax benefits if you go that route, because what you could do is you could pay the LLC rent. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of good things about it, and I'm not going to say legal or not legal. It's whatever the tax person tells you. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a smart way to go for sure.
Do you have, and I know, like, you don't need to give any of the details if you don't care to, but if you have, so you have a business that generates your, income to live off of stuff, and then you have maybe real estate, right? Do you hold those separately underneath, say, your name, or do you do you have another holding company that owns both of those companies?
Everything is underneath the LLC that I have. So I'll be a DBA of whatever my LLC is.
So the LLC owns the real estate as well as the business.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to separate them just in case of the liability for the supplement business is easier to get sued in for that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So to separate it from the real estate thing, just in case, then it's just the supplement business stuff.
Well, you got to, and I don't want to get off on that, but you got to understand when you have a corporation and you get into a legal, and I'm not a lawyer by any means, so people don't go,
just for education and just for fun here. We're not,
but when you run everything under a corporation, they can only go after what the corporation has. They can't go after you personally. So that's the reason why any business that we run under our LLC, just because it protects you. It's kind of a blanket. So you don't want to lose anything that you personally have. So
you have the second, so the business, do you have that set up as the LLC, or do you have that set up as its own entity separately?
It's underneath the LLC itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Curious,
so once you set up an LLC, you can do DBAs, 10 million of them if you want. It doesn't really matter. So you still have that blanket protection from it. So
this is more on 100% selfish here. It actually can, if you want to ask answers, but for your crypto, right? Where we like crypto here. Are you doing crypto as a business, right? So that any type of losses you're taking, or like you say you wanted to buy this computer set up, right? And you use this computer for crypto, then it's a business expense, or you want to write off an office in there. Are you doing that through as a business, either one of you guys?
I'm sure she is.
Yes.
Do you want? Can talk about that?
Yeah, and this is very new territory to enter. So I don't really know how much information, is good to be sharing. But I do know that businesses are free to accept crypto as a form of currency, as a form of payment. And so our business is primarily funded by crypto enthusiasts, almost 100%. So the majority of our funds come in through crypto and are taken out through, let's say, like Coinbase Commerce, where it can go straight into your business account, to where it is clear that all funds are um, business funds. Now, what an accountant will have to advise you about, and that's why we try to stick to USDC because there's no fluctuation. Because maybe someone will say that, if you receive other currencies, how do we know how long you held it? Is there capital gains involved? And so that's why we typically, for now, stick to taking out USDC, and then it can all be claimed as business income.
Oh, that's interesting. You mentioned Coinbase Commerce.
Numbers.
What is that exactly? I've never actually.
Coinbase Commerce is just another platform. It still needs to be tied to a Coinbase wallet, but it is set up for businesses to be able to easily accept crypto, right? It would allow you to have a Bitcoin address, Ethereum address, Litecoin, like all the different ones. And then it makes it simple to where, like, let's say that you want to invoice a client and they say, I want to pay in Bitcoin. Then you go to Coinbase Commerce and it will, create you an invoice where you can send it to that person and it immediately drops into that Coinbase Commerce address, which essentially is just another way of documenting or proving that that was a business transaction.
Oh, that's fascinating because you're talking about this, and I'm like, oh, I've wondered how I could transition, the supplement business to being completely crypto related, and I wasn't sure exactly. I had somebody paying crypto the other day, but it's like, okay, I gotta send them enough an email to be like, here's my address, right? Like, but I would love to audit. Is there tools on there where I could actually go through and automate it or something along those lines with the Coinbase Commerce?
Everything that I've learned has been this. Just like we provide content on YouTube, there is content on everything. So I just started, searching, as a business, how can I accept crypto? I found Coinbase Commerce. Actually, T Money is probably one of the most knowledgeable people. I don't know if you know him from Freedom TV,
Yeah,
on
he's super
both
sharp.
on both taxes and businesses using crypto. And so I'm hoping that he has a nice segment on this at PostCon. But even if he doesn't, I know he will be attending at least one of our workshops on the Million Post Tour, where I am going to force him to do a class on integrating crypto into your business. So yeah,
That
that's
that
definitely
that would be a good class because I'm sure there's so many people that are interested in that. Like
yeah.
especially with where we currently are in crypto in terms of a global adoption.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are going to be coming into the space over the next couple of years. Have you guys looked at the adoption rates and like?
I haven't.
It's
Tell me a little bit, because I know you guys stream daily, so the amount of information you probably receive is like crazy.
It is. Oh my God. Believe it or not, I've been in crypto for like 90 days. Like, but it's a daily thing. Like I'm just perpetually trying to learn and grow and meet new people all the time. So the adoption curve, when I used to follow Tesla and I traded options with Tesla before this, and you see EVs, so electric vehicles are following an adoption curve. If you look at say televisions or electricity or airplanes or any technology, they always follow an adoption curve. And it always looks like an S. So it starts out really, really slow. And then it picks up speed, right? And it goes faster and faster, like exponential, and then just kind of goes vertical. And then when you get up to maybe say 70, 80, or 90%, it starts to taper out and creates the S, right? So it goes up like that. Every single technology. And I was watching this happen with EVs and Tesla. And then I get into the crypto space and I was like, I wonder if I can use this same like framework that I learned about with Tesla to see what's going on in crypto. And so I found one research report. The company started with a T, I don't remember. And then crypto.com releases their annual state of the nation for crypto. And they estimate that it's around 4%, 3.83% of the world in crypto. So if you look at like a normal bell curve, there's like 2 standard deviations away from the center. That's the tails of like a bell curve is 2.5%. So if you look over here, that's 2.5% of the population set is in that bell curve. We are just past that. If you believe crypto.com's numbers to be accurate, around 4% of the world population, we're just past that. And that means the growth rate is just about to accelerate. So this is super interesting, right? You're like, wow, we're going to experience something that probably people who have been in crypto have been talking about since it came out, because it's like, oh my God, this thing is so much better than what we have in legacy. Yeah. And they probably been saying this is going to take over the world. But I personally, and I remember I'm new, I don't know, but I personally haven't seen anybody else looking at it from the adoption curve standpoint, because if you look at the adoption in 2021 and 2020, and you just cut that down by 50%, we're going to be at around 50% of the world population in crypto by 2027. Those are my estimates. Like that's insane. And then you layer on top of that, like things like the crypto legislation stuff that just got leaked. I don't know if you guys saw that kind of stuff that came out with 600 pages of documents from the US government leaking and how they're going to be regulating DAOs and exchanges. And that would be I don't know about interesting for a lot of people, but it might be interesting to like dive into that and actually read through that at some point. So,
yeah. So Sam, here's a question that I have, and I know other people have, is like, for an everyday person that's trying to get healthier, what do you suggest, man? Like, because, I always hear this. I mean, I come from a coaching background. I coached high school football and basketball for a long time. I played college basketball. So, fitness was always a big thing to me, but like I get questioned even by kids, like, what should I do every day? So what's your feedback on that?
It really depends on the person's goals. But if you're like, what is something that you could kind of distill down that could apply to everybody in 2 things, I'd say like be more active, period. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Because it's just going to help across the board, whether somebody's like trying to be healthier, they're trying to like rehab an injury, they're trying to, drop some body fat, they're have health complications or issues they're trying to help correct, or whatever. Being more active, so important. Just overall health, period. And also if you're trying to drop body fat, if you're trying to help your metabolism, your mood, like there's plenty of research that shows if you go, like there's a park nearby my house, so I go for walks over there and I try to respond to as many messages as possible. But there's plenty of research that shows being out in nature has a positive impact on your mood and other things. That has a positive impact on decreasing cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Right. So doing things that are far more active, and maybe it's like, hey babe, let's go for a walk. Or maybe it's like, hey, let's take the dog out, or leaving the phone behind, or whatever the case is. To do that, super helpful, both from a physical standpoint, but also from like a mental standpoint. And the second thing would be drink more water. Like a lot of people are dehydrated.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And they don't realize it. So like a rule of thumb way to like apply this to, everybody is take your body weight times 0.5, right? So say I'm 235-ish pounds, right? So times 0.5, And then that's how many ounces of water to drink per day. So 150-pound person, 75 ounces at a bare minimum per day. Because it's going to help so many, like our skin is like tremendously, it's the biggest organ in our body and it needs water, and every other organ. Like people like they're mentally brain fog or whatever the case is, more water can help with a lot of things. Sleep would be another thing, but it's not necessarily just the quantity of sleep. Like it's like, oh, I only get 5 hours of sleep a night, but it's also the regularity of sleep. So if somebody goes to bed at say 9 o'clock every night, and then on the weekends they go to bed at 2 a.m., that actually F's up your hormones. Mm-hmm. So maybe men think about, well, in the communities that I am in, men think about hormones like the testosterone and stuff like that, but it's so important for women. Mm-hmm. And just getting blood work done. So like nobody gets their blood work done. I get my own. You can get your own blood work done. You can go to a site like Walk-In Lab. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't make any. Order your own blood work.
Tell us what are the benefits of getting your blood work done?
So if you look at like diabetes or a lot of the list of top killers from the CDC of Americans, mm-hmm. a lot of this stuff can be prevented, but that's not what's going to be told to you. And when you check your blood work, it's kind of like, if you look at like data analytics, you can see a snapshot of where everything is, and you're like, okay, cool, this is super valuable information. And it's one set of data, or one way to look at data. But another way to look at data is taking a snapshot every, say, 6 months of where you are, because then you get to see trends over time. And so you take a snapshot of whatever you're trying to take a look at this time. You can check micronutrients, you could check your hormones, you can check all sorts of stuff. And then over that next 6 months period of time, you can go through and make changes with your lifestyle and your diet and or supplementation to optimize your health and get rid of, like, so if you're checking your blood work and you don't want to have any of those things on that list or die from any of those things on that list that CDC puts out of the top things that kill people, like, I think it's an intelligent thing to do. Like,
yeah.
Right? It just makes sense. Like, take care of your health. It's the only thing that we really actually have, like, when you actually think about it. So taking responsibility for that kind of stuff is super important. I even have my girlfriend take blood work because it's important. I want her to be healthy. I want her to take care of herself. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get my dad to take more blood work. Hey, Dad, you should get your shit checked. I can help you with this, getting stuff taken care of to you so you can improve your health, so you can live a better life. Maybe you want more energy, right? Maybe you just want to, your hormones are a lot of, in my opinion, what could be focused on in people to help with so many things, whether it's like energy or like there's lots of different issues in men and in women and how they feel in life. And if you optimize one's hormones, and that's not just testosterone. A lot of times people think of testosterone because I'm on testosterone replacement therapy, right? But you can also optimize your lifestyle and affect your thyroid and your adrenals or your progesterone or something it's more important for women type stuff, and all of these different pieces. So if you were like, hey, every day I'm freaking tired as hell, well, maybe there's a reason behind that. You're like, I'm just working a lot. Well, maybe there's actually a deeper reasoning behind that stuff. Like, how if you're either one of your businesses, if you guys have experience in whatever arena you guys have experience in, and I'm in there and I'm brand new, and Rob's like, bro, you're fucking shit up because right? You've already seen, I've already played that game, man. You're doing it wrong. Like, I can tell you now, right? And you can see some of these things in people where it's like, oh man, because I'm working so much right now, or it's this other thing, stress at work or whatever, and my diet or whatever. But there's so many interrelated things, and going through and checking your blood work allows you to take that look, as you mentioned, Hexagon, and you can start to make those changes to improve that. And you don't need drugs. You don't need like any of the shit I sell. You don't need, start with like the simple stuff. You getting enough water every day, right? If focus on that.
Yep.
If you're not being active enough, be more active. Your sleep, get better sleep, have better relationships with the people around you.
Yeah.
I have to give you and Jim Red Crypto a huge shout out because of your crypto fitness challenge. Before you guys started that crypto fitness challenge, I had just finished the road trip with the guys. Probably at my heaviest weight that I've been in the last few years, just because that road life was not easy. Being away from my family, just wanting it easy, and then really some of the best restaurants I've ever been to, and to like turn away some of those desserts like sugar, food, and alcohol. Oh.
Yeah, that's hard.
Don't even get me started. But you guys putting that together, it just it motivated the community so much that I wanted to be a part of it, and it kind of focused me. And then what's even better than that, when you talk about water, right? That's always been an issue for me. Is drinking enough water. It's not that I don't enjoy water; it's just I don't think about it enough.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do drink it, I guzzle it down and then don't think about it anymore. And that app that you guys have that's associated with the challenge, that was the first time in a long time that I started thinking about water every single day. Every single day, I'm like, oh shit, because I'm just not going to, mark that I did it until I've done it. Like,
yes,
it drove me crazy to see people having their points like the minute the time went over, because I'm like, you didn't drink no damn water.
Yes.
but in the end, I valued it, because for me, it has really helped me to drink water. My husband, he is a big proponent of Dr. Sebi. So lately he has been all fruits, all vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to improve his overall health. And so for the last couple days, I've been on a full fruit flush and some like light veggies, salads and stuff like that. So, and I have to attribute, all of it to you guys as your challenge.
You're putting in the work, and that's what it is.
Good job. Good job.
Like, that's amazing. I'm happy to hear that. Like, everybody has their own crap that they need to deal with, and to make progress, whatever that is. Like, I'm good. I want other people to be good. I want other people to be happy and successful and like win at life, because it's like, it's possible to have the finances. It's possible to have the amazing relationships. It's possible to have the amazing like mental peace that comes with making progress in all the areas of your life that are important to you. And it's possible to do that in all these areas at the same time. And so you see people who are like, they're winning in one area and then they just decide to let go in other areas.
Yep.
Well, I thought this was good, DB Cooper. Health is wealth. I mean, I think sometimes we measure wealth not really incorrectly, right? I mean, like how important is health? Like, who cares about the money if you have no health? I mean, it's
true. When I first started working out, I grew up in a family of 7 kids, and I was homeschooled my whole life, and my parents were obviously busy. So if I wanted to go to the recreation center to work out, that was a pretty low priority. So I would ride a bicycle 3.5 miles to the gym at 14 or 15 years old. I think I had to be 15 to join the gym. And I got there and I had no idea what I was doing. I just was like, working out's fun, right? And I get there, and after a while, I met this guy who was like 80 something years old. And I knew at that age, I was like, I'm going to be like this guy. He's 80 something years old and he's in the gym every day. And I would see him and I'd ask him questions because I was clueless. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, hey man, what does that do? Like, what are you working out right now? Like, this little kid coming up to this guy who's in his 80s. And I knew, I made the decision then that I was going to do it for the rest of my life, because I was like, this is awesome. Like, this old man, what he's doing right now at 80 years old is like, clearly he's got it or whatever. I don't know what I was thinking, but I made the decision at that time. And as like what you were saying, Rob, as I've progressed through, I understand, because I've seen like friends pass away, right? And or like have, different diseases that like I feel like there's tremendous impact that one could make in those diseases to have far less impact or get rid of them, is my personal belief. And then they succumb to that and they let go, or the people who are very successful from a financial standpoint, and then they let go in other areas of their life, whether it's their relationship or their physical health, right, or their mental health. And I was like, I need to, for my own, like, I get anxiety if I'm just like sitting around. Like, no joke, if I'm sitting around and we're not like, I need to be taking action of some sort in one of those 4 areas of my life, or I literally get anxious and I'm like not comfortable. It's just not comfortable for me to do that. If you're like, hey, let's hang out, I'd be like, hey, do you have any projects you need to do? Let's work on your projects. Like, I was just like,
I'm inviting you over then, man. I'm gonna call you.
Look, how do you like golf?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't. or we could talk business, because talking business would be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, what you guys have done has just been amazing, and to see so many people doing it, it's really helped the community, man. Just great job. Appreciate that. I know you guys are doing it for the right reasons, and that's really cool.
We have one guy that's 567 pounds. 567 pounds. Like, that's, we don't normally talk to a lot of people that are 567 pounds. And he was having trouble, like, just moving around the house and going up and down, unexpectedly, right? Going up and down. And I was like, when I found that out, I was like, hey, man, I'll just help you for free. Like, here's my phone number. Like, well, let's just talk every week, right? To like help, because you need to get your shit together. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Period. Like, that's just what it is. I'm not going to be blunt with you or play some game with you. Like, you need to get your shit together, unless you want to be in the grave pretty soon, because that's the path you're on. Period. Yeah. And he's down over 50 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's like,
that's great.
I get goosebumps, because it's like, that is like what I like. I like it when other people get to make progress, and it clicks, or like whatever it is, I don't know, but it's the decision and the commitment to start taking action to move forward on what they want. And like, that's exciting to me, because I'm passionate about like other people making success in their life and creating the life that they want by moving forward and just chasing whatever it is that they want.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of comments from Shauna here. What's up, Shauna? Processed foods alone are making massive impact. Yes.
Consistency.
Consistency is the key to healing. Yes. Positive habits forming strong metabolism, healthy this is your hormone system, basically. Attitude, sinew, training, everything. Yes. All that. And this helps, like, you. I mean, this is for me, this is 9:00 at night, and I'm like amped right now. Like, I'm just ready to go, because I feel great about all the areas that I'm like working on or trying to make progress, in my life. And it's fun.
So I'm interested, because you said you've only been in the crypto space for about 90 days, and you came in, packing a punch. It's not too many people I know in my circle who don't know who Sam is. So how'd you get in? Tell us like your crypto story. How did you?
Well, I got my actual first Bitcoin, but I wasn't like paying attention, right? So I got the first Bitcoin in 2013. There was somebody, I was in New York City, and this guy wanted some help with the gym stuff, because I've been into that since I was a child, as I mentioned. And he wanted some help with his diet and with working out. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. And he's like, oh, here, let me pay you. And I was like, no, you don't need to. And he's like, here, let me pay you this Bitcoin thing. I was like, oh, okay, what's that? And he's like, go to this website, set this thing up. It's called a wallet. And then I'll send it to you. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what it meant or what it was. So he sent it to me. And then probably about 2 years later, I went to check on it. And it was one of those exchanges that just stole your shit, right? And that was like incentive. I wasn't really paying attention to it. It kept coming up, like, yeah, you hear about crypto, you hear about like the rise and back in 2017, but I wasn't even slightly paying attention. It was just like, I like money, and I realized that this thing is in the peripheral of like me paying attention to stuff. And then the business that I have, or some of those peptides and stuff, I have to pay with crypto. So I I knew that you could like pay stuff with them and like you could collect payments with them. But as soon as it would come into my Coinbase, I would just send it right to my account. I knew nothing else about it. And then when I was paying attention to Tesla, because I got to give context for this here, I was paying attention to Tesla since 2009, 2010. I had an article written for like Seeking Alpha, which is like a financial news website, around Tesla in 2013. Like my first YouTube videos in 2014 were around Tesla, and I didn't put money in. Like I saw this thing happening way before anybody else did, and I didn't put money in. So 2 years ago, to give the idea, like to get into crypto, 2 years ago, I'm talking to my girlfriend. I was like, next time I see this is after Tesla had a giant run up. And I was like, damn, I saw this happening with Amazon and I didn't put money in. I saw this happening with Tesla. I didn't put money in. Like, what the F am I doing? Right? Like, come on, Sam, like get your shit together. So I was like, next time I have one of those, like, I know what's happening before a lot of the world happens. I'm going all in. And so that was around 2 years ago. And then, maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I told, like, I'm still paying attention to Tesla at this point, like researching Tesla. I was trading Tesla options. That's how I purchased this house, was through trading options of Tesla. And I was like, I think the next thing I would pay attention to is crypto, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know where to get started. I didn't know whatever. And then Jim Rat had hired me a couple years ago to help him with some fitness related stuff because he'd watched some of my content. And he was like, hey man, can you help me with stuff? So I'd help him out. And I see him posting about crypto. And so he's posting about this thing called HEX. And I'm like, hey man, you own HEX? I was just talking to my buddy about that. And I thought HEX was HNT, which is like helium, the protocol for like the global mesh network. And so he's like, no, there's completely different thing. And that was around 90 days ago. And on that, when I chatted with him about this, that was when I made the decision to go all into crypto, completely stop paying attention to everything Tesla. And every day I'm paying attention to crypto. And I knew as soon as I made the switch, I had to put money in right away. So within about 5 to 8 days, I put money into HEX, sacrifice for Paul Sachs, sacrifice for liquid loans. Because I was like, I've already missed. I saw this happen with Google too, and like a couple other times. And I was like, I completely wasn't paying attention, did not put money into those things. I saw what was happening. I knew what was happening in the future, and I didn't put my money there. There's no effing way I'm doing this again with crypto. And so I started putting money in every day, started paying attention every single day. And that's where it leads me to today, where every single day I just try to learn something else about crypto, what's going on in crypto, how things are done in crypto, how people think about crypto, how quickly it's getting adopted, all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see you deep diving into a lot of things. And you and I, we were kind of chatting back and forth, and you're like, hey, I ask you, what do you think a cool show would be? And you're like, well, one that introduces all the new projects coming up. I'm thinking, man, that's like a full-time job just trying to research that. I'm like, I don't have enough time in the day to do that. But I mean, but I definitely see you starting to dive deep into, not just HEX and all this, but other things too, which I really enjoy learning, about, cult is one that I'm really starting to read into and look at. But I think it's opening doors, like showing people that there's so much opportunity that we kind of have these blinders on, right? I think some of us would just get in here and be like, this is all I'm doing, just this right here. And they're missing a lot of stuff around them. So really cool.
And back in like 2010 or 11, I was working in Hawaii, and there's pictures of me online somewhere where I'm holding a dollar bill, but it's a printed dollar bill. And in the center of the dollar bill is my face. Because back then, I wanted to create my own country and come out with my own currency. So I would call it Sam's. And this is over 10 years ago. And then I get into crypto, and I'm like, wait, I can create my own currency. Oh wow, I could do this, and then that's the path to maybe creating my own country. And it's like this. Wait a second, I need to pay closer attention. I need to understand what's happening in all these different projects, because and don't want people to think I'm putting money into these things. And just so I'm abundantly clear, I'm not necessarily putting money into them. And if I do put money in, I'll be like, hey, bro, I'm putting money into this, but you should not put it until you fully understand what this is. Right. And if you don't like pay attention to this stuff all the time, or you're not like 100% okay with losing all this money you put in here, then don't do that. Like, period. But if I'm like, hey, I want to create something from my point of view, then I need to understand all the pieces so I can bring like the best pieces from all these different things. But if I'm just paying attention to one thing, like the, HEX, which is awesome, right? Paul's chain and Paul's X, I think, yeah, exactly. Like, I think we all have, got Paul's hat on, and right. We all think it's awesome, but I also want to understand what else is going on, because this is the tech. This is all these projects and protocols and things that are happening that is going to take over the world. This is the black hole that is sucking all of fiat into it. Right? Like, all of it's coming here. We know this is happening. We're just way ahead of everybody.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, I'm a Hexcan. It's in my name. I'm always going to hold Hex, but that doesn't mean that I think that we should ignore, other projects that come out. I think that the most valuable thing that Richard has done for this community at large is educated us. A lot of other founders or project heads, they just shill. Buy my shit because it's my shit, right? That is not what Richard did. Richard said, my shit's available, and this is why it's the best. Because it has immutable code, because it has no admin keys, because it has 38% APY. And then and he told us how important it was to get your money off of centralized exchange and to do true DeFi, right? And it's because of those things that we've learned that now we know what to look for in other projects. And I don't even think that he's telling us now, I only want you all in on Richard Hart projects. No, he just wants you to use crypto the way it was intended, what its true cause is, right? For expression of all these freedoms. And his projects just happen to be the best ones in allowing that to happen.
And I think especially in like where a lot of people are, it feels like, and I could be wrong here, but it feels like a lot of people should probably just put all your money into one or two things. Because like, if you look at the most successful investors, that's what they're doing, right? And if diversification is basically, you're going to get rid of your, like the really good shit, because you're not paying attention to anything, right? If you're like, oh, I got 37 different cryptos, that means you have no idea what the F you're doing, right? Like, because you're going to, unless you're a complete whack job like me, that's going to spend hours reading through white papers for fun, like, there's a high chance that you don't know what's going on in 90% of those projects, period, right? And you should probably just pick one thing and fully understand that 100%, and then just go in on that thing. Right, just go all in on that. Ignore everything else. Learn. You can learn across the board and pay attention to all those things from a learning standpoint. From a cash standpoint, like putting money all into one thing. Now, I don't think that necessarily is how people want to feel once they get to the point where they're situated. They feel comfortable with their bag, so to speak, right? Because I think at that point, people feel more comfortable like playing around in different things. But for most people, it appears you should just pick one thing until you build your bag to where you're comfortable with it. Just stick with one thing, focus on one thing, and understand it as much as possible. Hex is awesome, right? Paul's chain is awesome. Paul's X is freaking amazing. Well, I had a question for you guys. I know we've got several minutes more here, but what do you personally think has the next 10,000X first? From whenever it launches, Hex, Pulse X, or Pulse Chain?
Yeah, I'm going with Pulse X.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, it's pulse chain in my opinion.
What's the thought process behind it?
It's really just because of the time in which that sacrifice period occurred till now. There are so many people that feel like they missed out on pulse chain and cannot wait. They actually over sacrifice for PulseX because of the strategy or the idea that, oh, I can turn some of my PulseX into pulse chain. The tokenomics for PulseX is amazing. That will make people hold longer, but it doesn't matter. There's always going to be more dry powder, and you're always going to want what you don't have. And there are a lot less people that have Pulse Chain than PulseX. So that in the early stages, I think that will drive the price up faster. I mean, if we're talking about long term, I think long term holders will benefit from holding PulseX in the end. But I think that we see the 10x with Pulse Chain first.
Interesting. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I said PulseX because that's all I have. So
I
have that in there.
Pulse Chain, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah.
I don't. You know, the great thing about it is I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. I mean, that's what's amazing with the RH ecosystem is like, man, they all have something special. You know, it's like you're good if you have any of it. So,
do you
what do you think, Sam?
I think there's a world in the future where you don't even pay attention to layer ones. Like that's the backbone of the internet that like you just have the interface you deal with, and the layer ones are like, it's like run by Intel. Well, who gives a shit, right? Like nobody cares about that. No, I mean, unless you're a nerd and like that kind of stuff, nobody cares if you have an Intel or you have whatever else, you know, is out there. And that I see a world where that takes place. Now, in the interim, like I'm very bullish on all of them, but like PulseX is super interesting. But then you're like in the short term, like Hexagon was saying, you have PulseX's sacrifice gigantic, right? You're going to have those people who want to get into Pulse. You're also going to have a lot of people who just want to get out, period, because they're like, F this. It's been over a year. I have my money in here. It's not what I put this in for. And I think we potentially might have another delay because they're optimizing the validator code or something. They're switching from Solidity to like Go something. I think they were just talking about. So maybe it's in like late fall. Like, I don't care when it is, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. And so we're going to see, I think, a sell-off on PulseX, like a heavy sell-off on PulseX right at the beginning. But I'm kind of more, I think there's a possibility, could be 100% wrong, where PulseX, and maybe this is 100% biased, like what Ad was saying, because that's all I have sacrificed. But I think that it is possible that PulseX is the first thing built on a layer one that is bigger than a layer one. Because if you hold Pulse, you're kind of hoping for appreciation, right? You're like, okay, what am I going to do with Pulse? You hope for appreciation, and you could like, you know, stake it with a validator. You could, if you think of liquid loans as like as an encompassing staking protocol, you'd be like, put it in there, take 10% of USDL, put it into the staking pool, and you think of that as like a one position. You could think of that as staking similar to like fiat, or like I think there's one or two other ways to do that. But with PulseX, it's like, okay, it's right in-house. You can just hold this thing. Tokenomics are crazy, especially when you look at the percentage, like based on the fee that's based on percentage versus the fee that's based on a fraction of like what the actual fee is. It's a big difference. I don't know. I'm super bullish on PulseX. I think that could hit the 10,000x first, but I completely see your point around the layer one. And if you look at history, layer one's going to hit it way before PulseX will. And you know what I mean? If you use history and you think that's an accurate representation of the future, then it would definitely be Pulse.
Yeah. Well, just a heads up, we don't have anybody behind us, so we can go over a little bit. I just got a text on that. So cool. I like the conversation that we're having right now. And it's a hot conversation. You know, what's funny is I think we're already seeing some people dump out, you know, I mean, what I've originally, when I got into crypto, it was like no one had any patience because it was a trading game, right? So now it's so hard for people to sit. They just haven't. You can see people that are starting to, their patience is wearing thin, and I think that's kind of what you were saying, BHEX. It's like, people are like I want that now, So it's going to be that big run up on Pulse, and then it's going to level out at some point. But I mean, it's cool, man. I'm glad we're all in the same spot,
What do you think about launching in a first ever for crypto macro bear market? Right, we've got this stupid inflation. We're from printing money, bad policy decisions, and we're at a time layered on top of that where it doesn't make sense for a lot of people that have a similar point of view as me on how they think about things to ever work at a company again. I would never go back there. Like, unless it's like, oh shit, really hit the fan. Okay, cool. I'll go to Walmart and push carts. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I know it's just a temporary thing, or drive Uber, or whatever the case is. But it doesn't make sense to go work a 9 to 5. And a lot of people are seeing this. So you get the bear market, right? You have all these things layered on top of each other, and then you have Pulse launching. What do you guys think about that?
It's a lot, I think that Richard knows what he's doing. I think that launching in the bear has the best potential for massive gains for that 10,000x in a shorter amount of time. So that part I'm cool with, but just the rest of it is scary. The inflation of the dollar, like T-Bro was saying earlier, trying to find employees is crazy. It almost seems like people don't work anymore, and I don't know where their money comes from, because it just seems like it is so difficult to hire employees. And I was working in the education system for a long time in childcare, hiring preschool teachers and elementary teachers, and it was so stressful. And then after COVID hit, I mean, even me, I was out. I was done. I was like, I can't do this grind anymore. Like, yeah, Hex had a lot to do with it. I've been in Hex a lot longer than I guess both of you guys. But even now with the price of Hex, I still need to work, but I'll never go back. I'm in the same boat. Like, I will never go back to a 9 to 5 job. I rather grind it out. Like I told somebody, I will fucking sell hot dogs in my front yard.
Right? Like I would.
Yep.
I'll go back to like, dude, when I just one point when I quit working at the bank, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm making like $100 a month, and I'd saved for about 2 years or 3 years worth of like living expenses. But I was like, I don't know where to make money. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I was like, okay, cool. I just bought like a Tesla, right? Super great financial move. Quit your job, buy a Tesla. Great idea, right? And I was like, well, if I'm going to drive across the country, that was my idea. I was like, I'll just drive across the country. If I need to, I'll just sleep in my car and go across the country. And I'm ended up in South Carolina for a year because that was when like COVID was happening. My buddies there started a business there. But I was like, not going to get a job. So I just started flipping stuff. You can go find free stuff to flip, and you can go pick up free stuff and flip it. I know that's like the thing that Gary Vee talks about, but like it works. I did that with cars, and like you can buy a car and then you flip a car. You can buy all sorts of other stuff and flip other stuff, or go help. Rob has like, hey, I got a family and I got this and that other thing, and I got this car that needs to be sold. Hey, Rob, you need somebody to sell that car for you? I'll come over there, wash it, take pictures, and post it online, and blah 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 blah, and give me 10% of it or something. And you're like, yeah, that would be great. I don't want to take care of any of that stuff. Like I'd much rather do that stuff than go back and work a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hear you there, man. I mean, it's like I'm still every day going in doing the 9 to 5 thing, and it's like killing me because I've always been an entrepreneur and a business owner, but it's like now I'm more deep into this, and it's just like I got to figure out something, man.
So can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah,
so
man.
What do you need? What do you need to do to like get to the point where you can let that go or sell that other business?
Pulse to launch.
but how is that gonna solve it?
Yeah, that's, I mean, I think so. I mean, here's the truth is I probably could do it now. But you know how it is. You're comfortable in a certain situation. Sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. So that's kind of, I'm right there at that, like, yeah, you know, I mean, I got a family and I got, you know, so it's like, it's not just me I have to think about, if that makes sense. I don't want to fall on my face and turn around and go, I need to go do something again, you know? So, um,
Is
yeah.
there any piece of that where you could hire a VA to take the stuff that you don't want to do off your plate, or take something, not necessarily stuff you don't want to do, because that's probably the stuff that's the most valuable stuff, but like the stuff that is just stuff that needs to happen, but like a virtual assistant, it's paid $7 an hour, you know, in Budapest or some other country, that's like, oh wow, I'm making $7 an hour, is amazing for them, right? But it can take it off your plate so that you can feel more like,
yeah. I mean,
how you want to feel.
I think so. You know, here's something about me, and I think you mentioned it earlier, is, and my wife, it drives her crazy, but I can't sit down anyway. So like if I don't have a heavy load in my life, I don't feel right. I don't know if that makes sense. You guys probably both get it. I mean, like I'll go crazy if I'm like don't have a bunch of stuff going on. So I'm always trying to help people on projects and do whatever, you know, just because I like doing that. I mean, I enjoy the challenge of it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd give away, you know, I've got a plan and it's close, you know, and I'm kind of sticking to that plan. But yeah, we'll see.
It is interesting because I think that whenever a bull market hits, there's going to be a lot of people who are not used to having money that are going to have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just in HEX, and it's not just in Pulse or Pulse X. That's going to be in crypto in general, because the adoption is happening every day. Like, new people are getting into crypto daily across the board. And when we hit this bull market, whatever that is, whether it's 6 months or 16 months or 27 months or whatever it is, like, I'm concerned, but because people are going to realize that it's money is not solving your mental fucking problems, right? Like, and there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I need the money to get past the mental anguish that they create in themselves. And I don't know if it's going to be like a super fabulous thing, or it's just going to create another layer of, you know, foolish behavior, because now people have money and they need to distract themselves to drugs and you know, suicides and all these things, because people are not used to, they're used to believing that money is the problem, and not realizing that, like, dealing with this is the most important tool you're ever going to use, the most powerful tool you're ever going to use. Mm-hmm. And like, it's definitely something I think about, because there's going to be so many people that are going to need that assistance. They're going to need that because they're not going to know what to do. But like, hey, I have all this money now, and I'm like, I thought I was going to be happy. I thought I was going to be fulfilled, and I'm depressed as fuck. And I just want to, like, they're going to be anxious and just not know what to do with their lives. And there's going to be a lot of those people. You know, it's a concern of mine, or it'll be something that I'm thinking about, because I know that's going to happen to a lot of people.
And that's why community is so important. And that's why I think the HEX community is built a little stronger than a lot of other crypto communities, because we do have people within the community focusing on those messages, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, different people are drawn to different energies. But if you really want some support with mental, with sudden wealth syndrome, then Maddie Allen is providing that. If it's your insecurities with your weight, you know, you and Jim Rat are providing that support to say, hey, you know, because all of those issues, all of those mental issues stem from something else, right? You got to find out what that underlying issue is. You know, maybe it's loneliness or whatever. And we have like a women's group, you know, where we communicate and we say, hey, if you don't understand that shit your husband's talking, guess what? Most of us don't either. You have each other to, you know, to talk to about that, to where you can feel like you can add, there's no dumb questions in this space.
Yeah, I should.
So that's what has made me give so much of myself to this community, because I feel like we are trying to address all those issues that can come along with new wealth.
I wonder if my girlfriend heard that last part about she probably has to listen to me jibber jabber about crypto all day long.
I love that new TikTok. I've been waiting for my husband to just start talking so I can run my camera, because it's like this. It's that weird voice where it's like, and then every time it's like a chick that puts, every time my husband talks about NFTs or layer threes or whatever, like, I love
yes, that's hilarious. Cool. Hey, I have a phone call.
You got it. You want to do it live? You want? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that would be pretty interesting. You guys can give me live feedback, and I'll be like, I don't know if that's a. Hold on one second. I don't know if that's a good deal. It sounds like that might not be a good deal on my part.
We've enjoyed having you, man. Love to have
it.
you again. I mean, you're a guy that does so many different things. It's so cool to talk to somebody like you that can kind of just, all over the place. So it's fun. It's fun because typically, like BHEX and I, we get somebody on here that they're just talking about one project. So it's really cool to have somebody that talks about a lot of different things. So we appreciate you, man. Appreciate all you're doing for sure.
I acknowledge both of you guys for what you do and bring it to the community. That's awesome. I thank you for having me on and allowing me to share my story and, some of the goofiness and weird stuff that I've done in my life. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, anytime. And if we can do anything for you, we're here and we're always ready.
Same. Yeah. If I can help either way, like if you guys, I know we had talked about some solar related stuff, but we didn't really have a chance to get into it, and the taxes and on the real estate stuff. You had mentioned real estate briefly for a moment. Mm-hmm. Super interesting stuff. So if you want to chat about that offline and I can help with that, I'm doing that for this property here. Tremendous tax benefits to it. And then it's basically hacks for the electric bill. So you can basically get inflation. So instead of having that 3.5% inflation going to the utility company, you can capture that 3.5% by doing solar batteries.
I like that.
Different way.
We definitely need to talk, man. That sounds like something I need to talk to you about. So, but cool, man. Well, have a good evening. Good luck with that deal, and let us know how it goes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you guys. Have a great night.
You too, man. All right. So, hey, I wanted to plug your deal real quick. I mean, you've got some stuff coming up, but you've got this awesome golf tournament on September 5th, right before PulseCon. That's going to be a really cool event. And I'm going to stick the address in here for people. They want to go over and check out everything on it.
KSB.TV. Oh, we missed the S. That's okay.
How did I do that? Sorry about that.
It's KSB.TV/golf. It is the official kickoff to PulseCon. If you've ever been to a golf tournament, you know that's where real relationships evolve. That's where it's light and easy and you can have a good time. The goal is to get 36 different sponsors out there that will host a hole and do something elaborate at your hole, host a party at your hole, a theme, a giveaway, whatever it is. We've already got BHEX merch as a whole sponsor. So you're going to see some, cool merch out there. We already have the Crypto Sparkle team as a sponsor, possibly the Pulse app as a sponsor. So there's plenty of opportunity for all the different projects that are connected to Pulse Chain to come out here to a captive audience of people in cryptocurrency, that you want to get your message out to. Looking at having about 240 golfers, or maximum 240 golfers. So great crowd out there, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, you keep adding more and more. It's like you got to clone yourself or something. I don't know how you do it all.
I got to give a shout out to Travis. He has been amazing. He's just a Hexkin that recently stepped away from his job.
Nice.
And he's, at home. Of course, the bear market is rough on everybody.
Yeah.
But he just wanted to fill his time, with something productive. And he's been such an asset. I don't pay him anything. And it's like having a real assistant. So
Absolutely.
I just want to give a shout out to him. And really to this kind of energy is like rapping in the Hex community. People just
Yeah.
volunteer their time. I mean, the work that you did for us, it was worth way more than we compensated you for it. But I know that, you know, you were contributing extra time just because you're so much a part of the community. So we appreciate you for that too, T-Rob.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was glad I was able to help for sure. So, but I'm bummed, man. I thought I was going to be there and be able to play, and then I'm like, oh man, my ticket. You know, like,
Still got 90 days. You changed
oh no, I
life.
know, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be packed. I mean, what a great event. So everyone go to ksb.tv /golf and make sure you go. Even if you can't play, just like go, right? I mean, it's going to be a cool event. And
It'll be a cool event just to come out to,
yeah,
be a spectator, have some drinks, have some food, you know, come see what cool projects are out there.
yeah, cool. Well, thank you. We run late tonight, but appreciate you. If you need anything, you know where I'm at, and don't work too hard.
All right, T-Rob. Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.